It is 12:59. Good afternoon. I'm Lucas Panzica. Titans quarterback Ryan Tannehill spoke to the media after OTAs today at St. Thomas Sports Park, looking to put to bed the mentor comment that blew up when he was discussing rookie quarterback Malik Willis a few weeks ago.
Yeah, we were communicating the whole time. As soon as it blew up, I reached out to him and said, hey, I'm going to be a great teammate to you. I'm going to support you. And they're making this out to something that it's not to be.
As for players that were not present at OTAs, Derrick Henry, Kevin Byard, not at St. Thomas Sports Park. New Titans wide receiver Robert Woods was wearing a brace on his knee as he continues to rehab from an ACL injury. The SEC baseball tournament underway down in Hoover. First game in another weather delay. Alabama currently leading Georgia 5-1 in the third. Vanderbilt, as the 8th seed, will take on 9th seed Ole Miss in a single elimination game currently slated for 4:30. We'll see how that time adjusts with this weather delay in the Alabama game. It will resume at 1:20 East Central Time. Meanwhile, top-seeded Tennessee awaits its opponent tomorrow afternoon. The Golden State Warriors are one win away from the NBA Finals, looking to sweep the Dallas Mavericks tonight. Game 4 in Dallas tips off at 8 p.m. And in the NHL, Hurricanes and Rangers drop the puck at 6 in Madison Square Garden. Carolina leads the series 2-1, and the Battle of Alberta continues between Flames and Oilers at 8:30. Edmonton leads it 2-1. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. What's up, everybody? OTAs. Hey, man, I don't know who ordered up the weather for today. I'll give credit to, John Robinson. He's a GM, so he gets credit for the weather. This is about as good as it gets. I mean, it was actually cool at practice. So I had on long pants, long sleeve shirt. If you're on Zone TV, I wear a lot of these shirts with like a hood on them.
Oh, that's the same thing I had on.
So somebody was like, hey, man, you really prepared for today. And somebody else unprompted goes, dude, he dresses like that if it's 100 degrees. You totally missed the point on this. This is Mickey weather right here. All this you want to give to me, all of it. Just inject this weather into my veins. No sun, cooler than it should be. I'll take all this.
I cannot stand not having sun.
I want all of it.
Sun gives me energy. This overcast, all I think about is all my childhood life in Indiana. Overcast. This is every day. This is what made me start squinting all the time. Because it's like, it's sunny, but it's a glare.
I'm with you, Blaine.
Yeah, so I gotta have it either way. I can't be, I probably couldn't make it in California with a nice cool breeze.
Give me sunny and 95.
Yeah, I like hot.
Okay, that is
the heat
far
didn't
away
bother
from
me
me.
so much in training camp, man. I was like, oh yeah, just play like you at the beach, man. I start seeing women with their bikinis
I know,
on.
you told me
lake.
that. That's how you made it to. Well, how hot was it in H-Town for your?
San Antonio.
Yeah.
Oh, that's killer heat. That's killer heat. That you don't want no parts of that.
What college were you guys?
Trinity
College.
Mm-hmm. It's a
Training
Division
camp.
2 or 3, like a private. I think it may be a Catholic school, but it's a private school. Small, very high education.
But it wasn't like the crappy twin metal bed with the. It was nice.
Oh,
dorms.
it was like it was brand new.
Oh,
Everything in there, yeah.
Okay.
Great fields, everything.
ooh,
Food, cafeteria, huge. It was lovely.
just hot as crap.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, when we went back to the facility in Houston, that wasn't so nice. And then when we moved here, not so nice. Trailer parks. Yeah. Oh. Then we got to nice. Yeah. So the whole time we had dividers for our meetings, guys. So they would divide our meetings up. They say, okay, offense, defense, go to your meeting. All they do was just pull a thing to divide us. We could hear their conversations. They could hear our conversations. Yeah. What's for lunch? I don't know. Where you going? Well, I'm not going. Well, I'm riding with you there. Where we going? Whatever's around. McDonald's, Papacitos, whatever. It was just that's how it was. Yeah, people think I'm like this. This is the NFL.
So people who went to like Michigan and Ohio State and Tennessee were like, this is
Notre Dame.
This is awful.
No, they wouldn't say anything. They said, "Where's the facility? Is this just where we're gonna be? Like hanging out? Where's the? no, this is it. This is it, bro.
Come a long way.
So exactly. So coming from Ball State, I didn't have a big issue. It was
You had no idea.
This is just a little less than what we had
At Ball State. Yeah.
People have no idea when I go back there now. I'm like, did you know that our locker room was underneath the stadium? Did you know our locker was right there? Not this big, huge facility I got over here. So yeah, man, I just laugh, man. You can't control what you can't control, man. So you just keep your eyes on the prize, and that's practicing and getting better.
Who was the guy who got drafted out of a Power 5 team? This has been several years ago, and he got interviewed like, what's it going to be like for you to play at the NFL stadium? He's like, well, I mean, it's like 30,000 less people, but I'll get used to it.
Oh,
It was somebody who'd played at Michigan, Tennessee, one of the biggest stadiums.
SEC, yeah,
and he was asked, like, well, are you prepared to play for these NFL crowds? Like, well, it's not nearly as many people as I'm used to playing in front of, but, I'll get used to it.
Oh, yeah. Something about that with Joe Burrow last year. He said something along those lines.
Yeah,
Maybe it was Joe Burrow
him.
said that.
Him.
Like,
he's like, I'll
figure it
I'll
out.
be okay.
68,000 here. I'll figure out a way to play
I
to
think
that few
that's less
people.
than what he played in front of. All jokes
Oh,
aside.
man.
Yeah, man. So, yeah, they out there, OTAs, man. It's kind of interesting, this time, just lets me know how time's just a ticking on me.
OTAs?
All the big-time players weren't there, except for Tannehill.
Tannehill was there. He was chucking it around.
Yeah.
No Derrick Henry wasn't there.
Yeah, no, Kevin Byard.
No Kevin Byard. He wasn't there. No Large Jeff.
Who else?
Big Jeff wasn't there. Danico, Autry.
No.
Harold Landry wasn't there.
Dupree?
Dupree wasn't there.
Oh.
No Bud Dupree. So meant extra reps for Rashad Weaver.
Oh, that's right. He broke his leg. So you were out there. I wasn't. So I was getting my tire fixed, and unfortunately,
This is 2, right? In the
yeah.
last couple of
Oh
months.
yeah. This makes 4. So I just replaced them all at this point in time. I'm a nice to test it with all these chuck holes. But yeah. So yeah, times have changed. I wonder if that was a planned deal. Why were they missing? I know it's voluntary. Like, why do they choose this one to miss? Like, I'm sure all of them had different excuses. I'm sure everybody's not on the same schedule. But the voluntary one earlier, people were there. I know Kevin Byard was there because he spoke.
Right. That would be my question for you. I mean, Vrabel got asked about, are you in, I think it was David Beauclair maybe who asked him. I was listening to it earlier. He said, are you in, the people who aren't here, do you talk to them? And Vrabel's like, and I'm going to paraphrase, and Lucas, you may be able to find this. He essentially said, I try to talk to everybody all the time. And he said, if there's a guy that's always here at 7:50 and he's not here at 7:50, we'll reach out and go, hey, is everything okay? Is everything all right? So he sort of said that they're in touch with them without saying that they're in touch with anybody specific. But yeah, there were a lot of big name guys that weren't there today. So got more reps for other guys. Now Taylor Lewan was there, and I went down to just sort of I wanted to look at, man, I'm just interested in Petit Frere. Like, this guy's a genuine opportunity. I mean, first, second, third round. You've talked about this before. You first round pick, second round pick, third round pick. The team is bringing you in thinking, this guy should be able to compete to start. Now, I'm not talking about Malik Willis because it's more of a project, but other positions, I've heard you say that enough that I'm thinking, this guy's a third-round pick. He was a starter at Ohio State. I want to go see what he can do. So there were 2 or 3 reps. Like, he came out once, and I heard somebody say, hey, don't take a step before your arms come up. There was something technique-wise. And Lewan stepped over and said, let me show you. And then there was later another rep, and Lewan was like, no, let me show you what the guy across from you is thinking. So it was fun watching Lewan really coach him up. He stepped in several times and showed him some stuff.
Yeah. Just hope he's telling the right stuff. Never know. But I don't know. I'm not a O-line guru. Sure, he's going through his experiences and what's to be said. But sometimes, and the reason why I say that, and I'm not trying to knock Lewan, he's a fabulous player, is that guy, he may not have the talent you have. So it's almost like Bruce Matthews trying to tell another guy to do what he's doing.
Right.
Now, you can tell them what they're thinking when you do this.
Right.
Which I think is what you're trying to say he did. But at some point, if you were so good, you would be a coach. To me, that's why they have coaches. Now, do you want to help a guy out after a rep, which is what it looked like?
That's what he did.
It's great. Yeah, it was great. One thing I'm not going to do until I go out there, I'm not going to call Malik Willis a project. That I'm not going to do. And that's because everybody's trying to paraphrase it that way just because there's no sense of urgency that he start right away. And that's why I'm always trying to get to this guy who's in a shotgun. And like, that's so hard to do now. I don't think that's true anymore. I really don't believe that. That's why I use Marcus Mariota as an example, regardless of what round he went in or not. He was out there. So it shows you it can be done.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't. If you want to speed it up or slow it down, now that's a whole different story, but don't label him as a project. He's got some talent. It's just that they're not in a rush to play him. Well, guess what I say to that? You're always in a rush to play people, especially quarterback. Mm-hmm. You know why? Because you can't dictate when somebody's going to get injured. Mm-hmm. You can't. So, okay, Tannehill gets nicked up. Hope not. And then all of a sudden, Logan Woodside goes poops in his pants in a real game that we have never seen him in. We don't know. Then you're going to go, go out there. Well, we really haven't been working him.
Right.
He's just been doing practice team.
Right.
No, you're always working him to get better, to be able to play or to dress because you're always one play away. So, yeah, he's going to get better every time. And can he get better? Yeah, absolutely. Every rookie can. So I don't like labeling players when they come into the league and already having a narrative about what's about to happen to him. And so that regardless if he's on the practice squad, don't even dress or all those things, you can't. He's on the team. He's going to make the team. He's a quarterback. He went in the third round. I don't care if it was a second, third round pick. They're going to develop and they're going to put him on the speed course as though he's going to play. That's just the way it is. And if you don't do it that way as a coach, then you're not doing a good job coaching because you just don't know. So it's just kind of interesting how that narrative is following because that's what they're putting out there. And, that's probably why I'm not on the emails by the Titans.
How do you think they'll divide the reps between he and Logan Woodside?
Well, I think right now he has to be number 3.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised by the end of training camp, he is number 2. Here's what I'm going to say until I go out there. Talent exceeds everything. Mm-hmm. So we already know he's more talented than Logan Woodside, just on his ability. Doesn't mean he's a better player. Not yet.
Right.
So if he puts in the time and the work and he shows something, I'm going to say this, in the preseason without seeing him, and he looks good, which we know he's going to get an opportunity to play, then all of a sudden it's going to be a different ball game about who's number 2. Yeah, he's going to have to show. If he doesn't show, just say, he's got some time, no pressure, then Logan Woodside will be number 2. But I'm reserving the right to see preseason because him and Logan Woodside are going to get a lot of reps. So until then, hey, maybe by then he's got all the kinks out the way. The snap, his timing with his players, new players, by the way, no different than Tannehill. So he just doesn't have a handle on the offense. Mm-hmm. So everything's new. So just got to remember, every day he's going to get better. Every day, every rookie's going to get better. So that what they look like today, man, do you know the season doesn't start to like August up or what's September?
Regular season be for first week of September, somewhere in there. Yeah.
And if they have the ingredient that Vrabel and JR like to draft, these guys' work habits are off the charts. So when they go back, they're not the guy that's going to sit on the couch. Mm-hmm. That's not in their DNA.
Well, we talked to Willis's coach. He's working aside from the team with his own coach and has been.
It's in their DNA. They're going to go back and work it now, and they're going to realize, okay, these are the things I need to do.
Yep.
And this is how I'm going to get better. And then they're going to come back and they're going to look, oh, man, this guy's made some leaps already.
I would imagine it's great, though, for Willis or anybody. You go to rookie minicamp and you think, boy, this is what I need to work on just against my peers. Then you go to OTA with everybody and you think, okay, this is what I need to work on to compete with these guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's all going to be a rude awakening, but some pick it up faster than others, depending on how much time they want to really put in it. I mean, really, outside of what they're doing here. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, it'll be interesting. I think it's going to be closer than people think. I like Logan Woodside. I just haven't seen him in a game, so I can't say. And he's beaten a whole bunch of veteran guys.
One after the other.
Who were more talented to him or taken in the draft, more revered or everything else, and he's beat them. But guess what? None of them were drafted.
That's true.
Well, it may have been some late round guys.
Right. Cole McDonald.
That they cut before he even got started, but yeah.
Yeah, that dude didn't make it out of the first weekend.
I mean, when I listen to Malik Willis, I hear a guy who is strong in his faith, who's strong in his work habit, who understands how to work. And then I'm learning a lot of stuff from his quarterback coach, his trainer. I didn't know he didn't really play quarterback until his senior year in high school, like full time. Like, whoa. He was an athlete. Obviously, he was playing different positions, receiver, DB, running back, where they put him where, like one of the better athletes in the field in high school.
But both of us looked at each other like,
whoa.
Never heard that.
Right, never heard that. And then it obviously makes sense. Then he went to Auburn, and then he was just a little bit, short in maybe his development.
Mm-hmm.
And then he went to, Liberty, and next skyrockets. So we shall see. The verdict's out. It's still early. I guess, another thing is, though, I don't know about how I feel comfortable about some of the leaders not being there, at least a day or so. And I'm not saying you got to do a lot. That's another form of leadership. If Tannehill wasn't there, people would have got lit, even Bert.
Oh, Tannehill would be getting crushed if he wasn't there. By the way, we'll hear from Tannehill later. He addressed the whole mentor thing. Why don't we do this? Let's address Teresa Walker. She was out there today. We'll get her thoughts. She's been covering this Titans team since the Hitman was on it. We'll talk to Teresa. That's a true thing. We'll talk to Teresa Walker next. Blaine and Mickey 104.5 The Zone. Had a friend who used to call like really nice days Chamber of Commerce weather. We got some Chamber of Commerce weather today. Yeah, like your town just couldn't sell better weather than this. I know some of you don't like it cloudy. Teresa Walker, we'll bring her in now with the AP. Teresa, for covering football practice, or I would imagine practicing football, you can't beat this weather today. This was fantastic.
Oh, I think everybody was really, really happy today. I mean, it was a little cool for some, but cloud cover, temperatures below 70 on, let me check May 24th. No. I think we all take that, say thank you, Heavenly Father, and enjoy it because we all know, Blaine remembers this very well. We all know what's coming in July and August.
All the heat.
Oh, yeah. 30A weather.
We were talking about this, and I was kind of going over the list with Blaine. Like, okay, there's no Derrick Henry today, no Kevin Byard today, no Danico Autry, no Big Jeff, and no Harold Landry, and that's a lot of starter, leader, star guys on the team. Didn't seem to be able to find their way down this week, and I know some are working with trainers and doing different things, but it did seem like there were a lot of name guys missing today.
Well, here's the one caveat I would put out there. One, it's a voluntary program. It started April 19th. Now, this is the first week of OTA, so this is the start of Phase 3, right? There's the first phase, Phase 2. And this week starts Phase 3, which is the last portion of the off-season program. So, one, is voluntary, and two, we don't know who has been attendance, and, maybe somebody – maybe somebody's having a baby. Maybe somebody had a commitment for, a charity or something that, yes, you get the dates for the off-season program fairly early, but, if you've made a commitment to something 5 months ago, you may not be able to, to have been here. And, and Mike Vrabel said that, yeah, he usually, if somebody's been there 3 days in a row and then they're not there at the time they usually are, yeah, there's just make sure everybody's okay and check in. But, that's the challenge here, that it is that time of the year. And, I do know that, there's some people not showing up around the league to OTAs because they want a new contract. Yeah. Anybody say Deebo Samuel? But, that's the thing. I know there's been some chatter about some guy who wears number 22, but, that is a big part of this off-season program that, even guys who want to and try to be there. Kevin Byard talked to us the very first week of the off-season program. Sometimes things come up and they can't make a day that, oh, by the way, the media here today and we're all taking roll.
Teresa Walker, she's been with the media. I said this before we started this segment. You covered Blaine as a Titan, so nobody knows the Titans like Teresa Walker, who joins us now.
Well, I don't know if that's good for you or me.
It just means we're seasoned, Blaine.
Seasoned, I love it.
That's nice. I'm gonna use that. Well, to Mickey's point, and maybe I'm a little old school, but like, what is there? Let's say if we're taking attendance, what has been the last 2 years from same guys at this same point? Were guys missing? Well, I don't recall that so much.
Derrick Henry was pretty much a regular. I mean, let's be honest. There were a couple days I think that he may have missed. And I've seen the chatter on social media that maybe he's wanting a new contract, and maybe his agent is trying to stir the pot a little bit. Guys, I tell you, if that is a thought process, here's the challenge: Derrick Henry is a running back, and coming off a season where he broke a bone in his foot that caused him to miss 9 games, the kind of bone injury that. Well, it didn't end Javon Curse's career, but he wasn't quite the same guy that he was after he had that metatarsal break as he was before it. So, trying to negotiate, that would be an awfully strong stance to try to take at this point. I'm just saying.
Unless you are at camp today, that's voluntary to show that you are healthy.
Well, but that's the thing. I mean, the Titans were giving him days off last year this time, right? They know what he can do. They know how hard he works in the off-season program. So, they were giving him some days off at this point of the year last year, because, well, he's a veteran. I remember once upon a time when Jeff Fisher, was asked, why is Henry, oh, gosh, I'm forgetting his last name, Blaine, one of your teammates.
Henry Ford?
Yes, Henry Ford. Why was Henry, not practicing that day? And Jeff said, well, he's got 9-year ankles. Or something like that, You get to a certain point in your career, you get some days off. And the flip side of this is for guys not there, the other people are getting more reps, right?
Yeah.
Austin Hooper talked about us about trying to, there's enough guys there in that tight end receiver area that, there's not a ton of options in these short sessions. I mean, they're on the field at 9:05 and they're done no later than 10:45. So, I can't do the math real quick, but that's not 2 hours. So you've got to maximize what chances you've got. And for, let's put it this way, Dontrell Hilliard, Jordan Wilkins, Hassan Haskins, I don't think they're minding that number 22 isn't there today, because that means a little bit more work for them to share and split amongst themselves.
Yes, we're on with Teresa Walker, AP Pro Football writer and Hall of Fame writer. I guess, look, I was trying to get out there today. What's going on with the Burks kid as far as his conditioning in and out? I'm just trying to get a handle on it. Unfortunately, I got a flat tire and was at this tire place today for 3 hours. But anyway, what did you see out of him at the times that he was out there, I guess?
Well, he made some catches, and, there was a question that, is he dealing with allergies? What is it specifically? But the fact of the matter is he was out there today. So, at one point I was looking for him in the individual receiver drills, didn't see him. So I focused on the guys who were there, like Robert Woods, which, guys, 6 months after he tears a left ACL, he is working in drills the first week of OTAs. If I'm a Titan fan, I'm feeling, if I'm Todd Downing and Tim Kelly and Ryan Tannehill, I'm thinking, yahoo. And so that's one good thing. But, Burks was out there. He made some catches. I need to see more. I mean, we just haven't seen enough of him yet. So there was a question from one of my colleagues in the media asking, is it allergies? And, I don't know about any of y'all. I didn't have allergy one until I moved to Nashville.
Me too.
Guilty.
And I lived in East Tennessee, so it's not like I came from somewhere far away. So if that's the thing. When we get a chance to talk to him, we'll ask him, Traylon, what's the deal? Are you fighting allergies? Is it conditioning? Did you get caught by the switch from prepping for the combine and the pro day to, traveling all over and visiting with NFL teams to get your job that you didn't work out maybe as much as you coulda, shoulda? And is it catching you right now? So we'll ask that. But, when Mike Rabel was asked about it, he just, he I don't know if allergies, if it is that, if that's too close to health issues and HIPAA stuff. So Mike did not, Mike doesn't answer anything when it comes to anything that could be in the arena or zip code of injury. So we didn't get an answer specific on that.
Does anyone ask, or maybe that's not appropriate, but ask, why isn't he available?
I'm trying to think. I think he was already inside. We got skilled players coming off the field today. Like Robert Woods was somebody who had gone on in and, before the whole session was over, and we didn't get him.
Right.
So, we got a handful. We got, Josh Palmer, Austin Hooper, and, Nick Westbrook-Akina. I think I saw Des Fitzpatrick talking, and, and then the offensive linemen, after they lifted, they came back out, and we got Taylor Lewan, DeMarco Jones. I didn't get over to him, but, he was out there, Dylan Radin. So, that's the thing. It's so nice to kind of be back to normal times, but even in normal times, we didn't get everybody we wanted to grab coming off the field.
No doubt about it. We're on with Teresa Walker, Hall of Fame writer.
Teresa, when you look at the team, I know there's been a lot of talk about, gosh, maybe they should add a veteran receiver, and others have said, well, really what they need is a veteran offensive lineman. Do you see one of those as a need more than another?
I think offensive line, because I just, with the changing things that we've seen on that line and the faces going out, faces coming in, I think a little bit more depth there with some experience might not be a bad thing. But looking at all the options to throw the ball to, guys, I still go back to this. It feels like that group, tight ends and wide receivers particularly. I know A.J. Brown is in Philadelphia, and we still need to see what Robert Woods and Traylon Burks can do. But it feels like there are more options here for this offense to work with and, see who steps forward from the pack. As much as we focused on Kyle Phillips and Traylon Burks, Robert Woods and Austin Hooper and Chigwaquanquo, well, there's Racey McMath. Des Fitzpatrick had a really nice catch today. The kind of catch that Ryan Tannehill says, you make those kind of catches, then I get more trust in you to throw to you in a tight situation, believing you're going to catch that ball. So, those are two guys that, we can't forget about them. They're having and enjoying their first true off season after being rookies a year ago. So I definitely would lean more toward offensive line. But right now they're at 90.
Yeah.
So you get rid of somebody, you're gonna to bring somebody in, you're gonna have to let someone go, and you better make sure that it's an upgrade.
You mentioned Austin Hooper. To me, he may be the wildest of wild cards on this team because he was a two-time Pro Bowler, 2018 and 2019. That wasn't that long ago. This offense will throw the ball to a tight end and will certainly use tight ends and give you opportunities. I mean, 2 years ago, this guy was a two-time Pro Bowler. I would think there are some opportunities for him here.
Oh, did you see how many times Ryan Tannehill threw to him today?
Yeah.
I think this is the start of a beautiful friendship between Ryan Tannehill and Austin Hooper. So, yes, I'm expecting him to have a chance. I think I said it to a couple people while we were watching. I think we're going to see a guy who's going to have a chance to look like the tight end who was a Pro Bowler his last 2 years in Atlanta, rather than the guy who wound up doing an awful lot of blocking and sharing the time and the ball with people in Cleveland. So I think this is this is going to be really impressive. And he's here on a 1-year deal. So guess what that means? That means he's got to work to prove it and earn it, if he wants to stick around past this year. So motivation is never, ever a bad thing.
Never for Teresa Walker. She's always motivated. Associated Press at Teresa M. Walker. Heck, she's a Hall of Famer, for goodness sakes.
No doubt about it. I guess we have to talk about Malik Willis. What did he look like? Inconsistent, up and down, great. I mean, give us something. What did you see?
Well, I saw a couple overthrows. They're working on him, tightening up his footwork. This is a kid that at Liberty, before that at Auburn, he mostly was working out of the shotgun, right? So, he's got to get used to taking the snap under center, and I didn't see any drops, when he was doing that exchange today. So that's already huge improvement from the rookie minicamp. He throws a line of a ball. I mean, I think I'm stealing your line there, Mickey, but, he throws when you throw it and he throws it, you can hear it smack the receiver's hands. They're working on him with that, learning that 7-step drop and just fine tuning. But you could see some improvements from the rookie minicamp to here. And, the more they're on the field with him, particularly as we get into training camp, when they send him off at the end of this off-season program before camp, they're going to give him a list of things to continue working on. It sure seems like he's a fast learner.
No doubt about it. We have to ask you, since it's always about the offense, got to ask about defense player, Roger McCreary. What did he look like?
Looked pretty good to me. I have to admit, I was impressed, though. 6th-round pick Theo Jackson, the Tennessee Vol, he was out there, getting some snaps, and you noticed him. So, now granted, Kevin Byard wasn't there today, and, so he it seemed like he was in on a couple spots there. But with so many guys missing on defense, did see Caleb Farley, which is a good thing, but that was probably the other thing that caught my eye. He was wearing one of those yellow non-contact jerseys, but he was out there. And as Mike Vrabel said, Caleb Farley has worked to reshape his body so that it no longer looks like the jersey's hanging on a coat hanger when he puts it on his body. So, but yeah, he walked right by me and I'm like, oh, hey, yeah. I know a lot of Titan fans have been worried. Is he going to be available? Oh, he's just a bust as a first rounder. Guys, calm down. It's one season in and he's on the field in OTAs. Even if it's in a non-contact jersey, like Robert Woods, that's impressive that they're both out there working at this point in the offseason.
No doubt about it. So did he do individuals, and how did he look? Did he look like he had a gimp to him, or did he just look he was working through the cobwebs?
He looked fairly good to me, Blaine. I'll say that. Now, I did focus more on the offensive side of the field. I figure I'll watch more defense next week. But when I saw him moving around, I didn't see any issues. Now, Robert Woods is still wearing, he's got a brace on that left knee. Probably a smart thing at this point, just to help protect everything. But and the fun thing, the comparison thing is this. Taylor Lewan pointed out to us that he couldn't run this time last year. Yeah. He was busy recovering from his own ACL and felt like he played a season where he was always behind the 8 ball because he didn't have that off season of conditioning and strengthening to really get himself to where he likes to be, able to finish plays. Well, he's got that now. Well, these two players, Farley, Woods, working now, that's to me is a good sign that you're going to have a chance to have them, closer to 100% during the season than I had going until today, I wasn't sure if we would see them at the beginning of the season. Now I'm thinking there's a very good chance we see both of them, not only at the beginning of the season, but early in training camp.
Well, with Teresa Walker, Hall of Fame writer, I guess I want to ask more a broad question for the fans here in Nashville because of the effect of your thoughts on, from a Nashville perspective, resident perspective, on a new stadium here in Nashville.
I know there's a lot of people, and I was at the Metro or the Sports Authority Finance Committee meeting last week, and the case that they're making. I saw the picture, one of the steps crumbling, and the fact that they've been working on the expansion joints for the stadium since, I think, 2015 offseason, and every offseason they've got to go to a different section to work on things. Yes, we'd all like to think that if you build something for, let's face it, a project that was about $300 million, that should last for more than a couple of decades. But the fact of the matter is, it wasn't maybe, we've all been in neighborhoods where the materials used maybe weren't as good as they were in other neighborhoods. And right now, the Nissan Stadium was one of those houses that was built, bursted pipes. They have to go in every now and then and literally clean out the pipes. There's been some pipe breakages. Anybody who's been, was at the Garth Brooks concert last year when the skies opened up after the thunder rolled. Well, they remember trying to take shelter in spots, and water was just pouring through. So it's got issues, and that means that it's being more exposed to the weather, and that helps deteriorate faster. Well, Burke Nihill, the president of the Titans, made a case that under the lease that was written in the 90s was, Bud Adams couldn't have written probably a more favorable contract. But Nashville taxpayers are on the hook to help keep that stadium to a level that's comparable to stadiums that open in around a 10-year window around it. That includes AT&T in Dallas, Jerry World, so to speak. And if anybody has been to Nissan Stadium and AT&T Stadium, I don't think anyone's going to compare the two.
No.
So... And the cost, if the Titans exercise the option that they have to stay there through 2039, they say that they got a couple contractors to run the numbers, and they said that the maintenance and upkeep to keep it to a level to play in would be approximately guys, $1.9 billion with a B. And what are they saying the new stadium would cost? 1.9 to 2.2 billion with a B at this moment. So, the argument is made. I know there's some people out there who don't agree. I had somebody on Twitter, trying to make me take a look at his research. This stuff doesn't really pay off. But as somebody who covered the original Nashville Yes campaign, covered the original building of Nissan Stadium, and saw what Nashville was in the 80s and 90s, and to what it is now, all the growth, all the explosion, all the corporations moving to Nashville, none of that is possible without the Tennessee Oilers coming here and taking root in 1997 because of the stadium. So it just seems like we're on a path to a new stadium, guys. The only question I have at this point is how they finish up the final numbers on who pays for it and when they break ground. But the deal that they're working on with Nashville, it sure seems like the current mayor is working to get the Titans more at risk of future maintenance and upgrades and upkeep than the taxpayers. Very similar to the deal they redid with the Nashville Predators in 2019.
Got you.
Well, T, that was fantastic stuff. People need to follow you at Teresa M. Walker on Twitter or wherever they would consume the Associated Press, where you've been doing fantastic work for a minute or two now. Teresa, thank you so much. Good seeing you today.
Yeah, that's why she's a Hall of Famer.
Thanks, guys, and always download the AP News app. It's free.
Well, there you go. Even good advice from Lady T. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys.
Oh, man, always fun hanging out with Teresa and catching up. And when she starts talking about history, she knows it because she lived it. That's how she's like, remember the NFL Yes campaign? Well, I covered that. So when she talks about stuff, just know that she knows. When we come back, we got into this yesterday. Teresa talked about it. Titans need an offensive lineman. I've got some names. Maybe we could do offensive lineman yes or no with Blaine.
I'll be real helpful.
He's ready. He's ready. We got him next.
We got to add some
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. So we've asked this question. We ask it on, you can follow us on Twitter, by the way, at Blaine and Mickey. There's some good stuff up there from former Vols receiver Josh Malone, who's getting an opportunity here with the Titans. You can hear a clip that I got from him today and see some other stuff there that you would want to see. So go check us out on Twitter. Also, our director of content, Blaine Bishop, is always coming up with great poll questions. We asked the other day.
Well, intern always helps me out. That one of many of those we have.
All of our army of interns that live in your head.
No, we're back there with Coach Mack.
Right, with Coach Mack. I'll try to look and see, but it was overwhelming people saying the Titans need a veteran offensive line more than a veteran wide receiver. I think the narrative's kind of changed on that. And I'm trying to go back and find a specific tweet, and I'll use the army of interns maybe to do that while I look and talk and scroll at the same time and try to think. And you have to do multiple things to be able to do these shows. You got to look for things on your phone and kill time and also talk at the same time.
Yeah, I can't do that, so I just sit here.
Well, no, I mean, you help me do this all the time, and I try to help you do it too. But I'll find what the results of the poll were. But it was interesting because I think there's this overwhelming sense, and what I've said all along during the offseason is, I mean, if Robert Woods is healthy and they spent a lot of draft capital on Traylon Burks and they spent some capital to sign a nice free agent like Austin Hooper, there are guys to catch the ball. There are 2 openings on the offensive line. And we don't even know if Dylan Radins is a guard or a tackle, and we don't know much about Jamarco Jones, and now they got Nicholas Petit-Frere, and we know that he played at a high level and has been a good player, but we don't know how ready he is. So there's a lot of question marks. So I thought, I'm going to look, because we did this, yesterday or the day before with wide receivers, and I think we landed on Emmanuel Sanders. Solid guy.
Yeah, that was
pro. 35, played 14 games last year. Even at 35, 42 catches, 626 yards, 4 touchdowns.
At 35.
Solid.
In Buffalo.
Buffalo.
When you get up to the 35 and then you just getting your hamstrings warmed up to that kind of level is tough. Just seriously.
Oh, I can't imagine.
Man, so, I think he's still got something to take, especially if he comes here in his swarm. But, they're waiting to play it. I think they want to see some development by the young guys. So they're not impressed. They may not think they need to go down that road if those guys develop at the rate they want to. I heard Tannehill say, Dez was down there working out with him in Florida. So obviously it's important to him. So to see if he can get better. And the second year, you never know. Some of those guys take huge leaps. And I'm hoping it is one of the young guys.
Dez was the 4th-round pick last year. And they cut him.
And nobody picked him up.
Now, I'll say this. Today, he dropped one on air. But then later, he made a catch in traffic that everybody was cheering for.
Oh, but that was, Teresa was talking about that one. It was a spectacular catch, right?
Yep. But he dropped.
That's what you get out of a young player, though. You're going to get inconsistency. And the ones who can figure out to be more consistent, guess what you build up in? Trust, not only with the coaching staff, but with your quarterback. Mm-hmm. But I think we're going to be more 2 tight end sets now with Kelly influence. I think that's going to do. And then, those guys are very capable of making some plays. So I think he's going to have a security blanket. But those guys on the outside, we all know they got to make some plays. They got to make plays all day.
Here's some guys who could help block for them to make plays. It was 57.8% to 40.6%. You guys say the Titans need to add another veteran offensive lineman. You tell me.
57?
57.8%, so almost 58% said, and I used other 1.6% was all that got.
Well, I'm always linked to the skill guys, but, I mean, yeah. The way this offense is built, yes, because they run the football. Tannehill cannot get hit like he got hit last year.
Too old to keep getting creamed.
Oh, hey, man, that's a tough cookie.
All right, let's roll through these real quick. We got a minute. Tackle, Dwayne Brown, 36, started all 17 games for Seattle last year, longtime Texan. Tackle, Eric Fisher, 31. He was with the Chiefs a long time. He played 15 games for Indy last year. Tackle, Riley Reef. He played for the Bengals last year, finished on IR. Bengals O-line struggled, but now he finished on IR, didn't finish the season. Then you got Darrell Williams, who played every game for Buffalo last year. He's only 29. He's a seven-year vet in the league. All these guys are out there, free agents. Then I found 4 guards because they need a tackle and a guard. Eric Flowers, who was the 2015 number 9 pick. He's still only 28. He started 16 games for Washington last year. A guy named Michael Schofield, 31. He's a 7-year vet, started for the Chargers last year. And if you remember this guy, Laurent Duvernay-Tardif, who was a doctor who played for the Chiefs, and he took a whole year off to go be a doctor, fix COVID. He was a starter for the Jets last year. He got traded there and finished the season as a starter for the Jets.
Oh, wow.
And then finally, last but not least, Big Spain. He's 30. He's available again. Quentin Spain. So there's some guards and some tackles. Any of these guys, you think, yeah, you could start that guy and you could sign that guy, maybe a deal with some incentives for playing every game, and you just plug him in. And no more worries at left guard or right tackle.
Actually, I think the Titans are in the same situation they are in a receiver. No sense of urgency. I think you got to let and see how this plays out with Radens, Pierre, Jones, and see who wins the battle. Brewer. I'm not going to keep Brewer out of this conversation. They could talk about, oh, he's small and everything. Guess what? Nobody cares about that when you go out there and you execute and you balling. That's over. You're on the roster. So then the size doesn't come into play if you're better than the guy.
He's a center, too.
Yeah, he can do both.
Boy, that dude.
So I don't know if that hurts him or helps him in this battle for guard.
Yeah.
Because you got to have your backup plan for Ben Jones. But that's not to say he can do it. Then, because why I say that is if he wins out the guard position, then if Ben Jones gets nicked up and has to miss, then you move him. Now you're moving two pieces. You move him to center, then you have to bring in another guard. So then now it's two new pieces as far as in positions. So yeah.
So if he doesn't win the starting job, he's more valuable at that point because then he's two people's backup.
Right.
But I agree with you. Don't break one thing to fix something else.
And that happens because you still want to have your best, five out there. It happens all the time. Listen to that list doesn't make me, Brown. He's been a star in this league. He knows this division, so that kind of helps leans towards him. I like it. I've always been a Spain guy. I could say that about guard. I think he gets a bad rap, but I know people talk about that play. Donald beat him on it in the Super Bowl.
Donald beat everybody,
right? But when you watch him, he didn't. What they say, he's not a quick-footed guy. He's more of a power guy. Well, in that play, he got too aggressive and went out and just went. But if you watch him throughout the game, he was one of the few guys that got beat regularly in that game. And I was watching him because he barks a lot, and when he barks, you better back it up. And most of the time, I think he backs it up. So I like his toughness. I don't think the Titans will bring him back because they let him go. Thought he was shouldn't have got let go. I didn't see what they saw. Obviously, so I wasn't making the decision. What he did do is he missed a block on a field goal, and it got blocked. They tipped it and it kind of cost him the game. But as far as him blocking that game, I watched that game 5 times, and I gave him a 90% or above grade.
From BFF, Blaine Football Focus.
Yep. Yeah. So
He's out there.
Well, here's what people say. Oh, I love this narrative. He's out there. That means he's no good. No, that doesn't mean. How do you go from starting to all of a sudden you're no good? It didn't happen. I mean, it obviously maybe could be money. It could be not, maybe waited too late to decide you would take a deal. Then they moved on. You got to, there's a lot of factors in here. So it's not always that clear cut because somebody's available. That they're out there. I mean, nobody's saying that about Julio Jones, are they? No. Oh, because he's a Hall of Famer. So I love the narrative when it changes when it was some great player that's out there compared to.
He just hadn't found the right spot.
Right. Yeah, they didn't say that. Yeah.
All right, we got to find our right spot in hour number 2. Coach Mack is coming up. Also, we will hear from Ryan Tannehill. He started. He spoke today, and he started what he was saying with some words about mentorship, and we will play that for you next. Got my man Ryan Kelly, the home loan expert, on the line. Look, everybody loves superheroes. How about a superhero who kills off credit card debt? You are actually that guy. We just need a cape for you.
Oh, man, listen to you. That would be great. My kids would think that cape was pretty cool, I'll tell you that. And, I know these big banks and greedy credit card companies don't like me, but I don't care. I'm going to keep showing our clients how to pay off those credit cards and achieve financial freedom once and for all. If you're a homeowner, there's never been a better time to be looking at a cash out refinance. We'll go in and replace your current loan with a new one, and you can pull that equity out. And I'll tell you this, here's a big number for you. Our average client received over $54,000 in cash at closing with a simple cash out refinance. And we can close that loan in just a few weeks. Imagine having $54,000 in your checking account in a few weeks. Let's make that a reality. Apply online today at thehomeloanexpert.com.
Thank you, sir. Ryan Kelly, the home loan expert, is a Tennessee residential mortgage licensee.
It is 2:03. Good afternoon. I'm Lucas Panzica. Titans players were on the field at St. Thomas Sports Park for OTAs earlier today. Quarterback Ryan Tannehill met with the media wanting to address how his comments about mentoring quarterback Malik Willis blew up.
Yeah, we were communicating the whole time. As soon as it blew up, I reached out to him and said, hey, I'm going to be a great teammate to you. I'm going to support you. And they're making this out to something that it's not to be.
And it now appears to be a non-issue. Not present at OTAs, Derrick Henry, Kevin Byard, Jeffrey Simmons, among others. New Titans receiver Robert Woods was out there wearing a brace on his knee as he continues to rehab from an ACL injury. SEC baseball tournament underway in Hoover, Alabama, currently leading Georgia 5-1 in the bottom of the fifth of a single elimination game. Vanderbilt taking on 9-seed Ole Miss this afternoon, a 4:30 first pitch. Meanwhile, top-seeded Tennessee will await the winner of that matchup tomorrow in the second round. The Golden State Warriors are one win away from the NBA Finals, looking to sweep the Dallas Mavericks tonight. Game 4 in Dallas tips off at 8 p.m. And in the NHL, Hurricanes and Rangers will drop the puck at 6 in Madison Square Garden. Carolina leads the series 2-1, and the Battle of Alberta continues between Flames and Oilers at 8:30. Edmonton leads 2-1. Around the NFL, the Baltimore Ravens have reached a deal with former Broncos and Bears cornerback Kyle Fuller. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Bert, you got to point at me or something, man. You got to let me know the mic's hot in here. Blaine and me could just be saying anything.
Bird's got to get better on his communication, man.
Go, you're hot or live or 3, 2, 1.
Come
up with a catchphrase for me.
I mean, you gave us a 5 the other day. That worked well.
I should have gave you the 5. I gave you a quick little point, but I kind of forget that you guys are not always looking at me.
What are you, Isaac the bartender on the intro to Love Boat? Just 1 point? Come on, man.
Yeah, I could be, if that's what
you know who that is.
I do. Yeah, I've seen the Love Boat. Tito and all those guys, the little short guy.
Tito.
Isn't it Tito?
No, there's no.
Who's
no Tito. Ding dong.
Maybe I'm just thinking about Jackson 5. Old stuff. Sorry about that.
Hey, man.
How did you cross the Jackson 5 in the Love Boat?
That little guy's name was Tito. What's the short guy's name?
Tattoo was on Fantasy Island.
Tattoo. Okay.
Now they came on back to back. They came on back to back on Saturday nights. It was a big TV night in the 70s.
What about the Flying Nun? Were you a big Flying Nun guy?
That's before my time.
That's my mom's favorite show. She'd always try to get me to watch it, and I just didn't give a rip.
That was before my time. But no, I'm all. I can tell you everything about the Love Boat. It was every C-list celebrity now is on Dancing with the Stars. Once upon a time, they were a guest on the Love Boat. So everybody who had been on a failed sitcom or had aged out of a proper movie career or whatever, they stuck them all on the Love Boat. The Brady kids were all on there. Everybody was on there. It was just a way station for people who were just really at this point just famous for being famous.
I'll do my Love Boat homework and come back tomorrow.
I'm trying to, Mickey, you were so much ahead of my time.
Yes.
I'm trying to think of something that I watched when I was wee big.
Wee.
And I'm talking about like probably 3 that I can remember.
Okay.
And I'm trying to see if you watch these shows.
Okay.
Planet of the Apes.
That was a movie, but yeah, sure. Planet of the Apes.
No.
The show?
Yeah. It came on TV.
I remember the movies.
They were the monkey. Yeah.
I remember the movies, but I do not remember a show, Planet of the Apes.
Oh, yeah.
I remember Land of the Lost.
$6 Million Man?
You would have had to have shot me to keep me from watching The $6 Million Man as a kid. Any other? Okay, you had one more. What's your other one?
Oh, I can't remember. It just left me.
Starsky and Hutch?
No. No, I definitely watched that. Star Trek.
All the Star Treks had been made and run. Do you realize this before you and me were born?
Oh, I did not know that.
All of those TV shows were made in 3 years.
I used to watch them.
They were made over the span of 3. Maybe I was born and you weren't. They were all made over the span of 3 years. Not all the new ones with Picard and all these other people, but the ones with Captain Kirk. Now, they made movies. Mm-hmm. Every one of those shows was made in 3 years. Yeah. And then it was done. It was like the #1 show and off the air in 3 years.
Yeah, that and Wonder Woman. Ooh, I was all over Wonder Woman. That was like my childhood crush.
Linda
Wonder
Carter?
Woman. Oh, yeah.
She's still getting it done.
She's in the. That's the most out on the limb I've ever heard Mickey talk about another lady. Right there. Why you turning red, man?
It's hot in here. You got the door
Lucas's
open.
mama if she played her cards right.
Linda Carter
Oh, yeah.
was,
Mm-hmm.
boy. Like, you guys would look at her as someone's grandmother, but you just have to understand, once upon a time, she was nobody's grandmother.
Oh, man.
Linda Carter. There's a Google. You should use it.
The Wonder Woman.
She's in the newest Wonder Woman movie.
Yeah.
She's in that movie.
Yeah.
She's the mythical warrior in the gold suit in the 1984 Wonder Woman.
Yeah, whatever, man. You guys know. But someone who is
We
not
all-
happy
we got
about
eyes.
somebody who's Wonder and no woman is Chuck Rambo says Willis sucks, the most overhyped player of all time. What do you mean overhyped? He went in the third round.
How is he even overhyped at this point? You think
Maybe he's talking about before that.
maybe he's thinking about another Willis.
Nah, that's the Willis he was talking about. Yeah.
If anything, he's been underhyped, as you've said over and over. This dude.
Oh, we're gonna take it slow. He's a project. I mean, we got plenty of time. You know, we have Tannehill. That's the narrative.
Whose voice is
I don't. It's the deep dark voice of what the people want to put out there about him.
Okay.
Like, dude, you don't wait and we had plenty of time. Do. No, you got him on the fast track just like everybody else. Because you guess what? You don't know any way when you may need him. Sorry. And oh, by the way, people would say, he didn't go first round because that's comparable. Marcus Mariota had all the same issues he had. It's just that he went first round. He didn't play under center. He was on the passing gun. He could run, good athlete, just a different style of player. But there are some, as far as their build and everything else, but he had to learn how to get under center. All those things, they threw him out there. So if you got a year or games to play with, yeah, hopefully he'll get comfortable. That don't mean he'll have success or he won't. So, yeah, man. Hey, that dude better be getting ready to play. Wow. And I guarantee you the coaches, they're not saying, let's take our time, Boop-a-doop-a-doo. No, they putting him on the same track as everybody else. Just his is a little bit harder. But I think when you listen to him, this guy's all in. He's all in, man. This dude's a hard worker. And then to hear that he only played quarterback really 1 year of high school, and then he didn't play a lot of quarterback there at Auburn.
No.
He was running around a little bit. So then only 2 years of college at Liberty. Hey, man, 2 years? And he did that? I think you're on to something. That's just me. Without even seeing him yet live. I'm going to go over there unless I got to go take my tire back again.
Well, let's hope that doesn't happen. And he will be mentored by Ryan Tannehill. And Ryan Tannehill spoke about that today and about his words from before and how they might have been misinterpreted. This is what Ryan Tannehill said today about the rookie quarterback.
Well, you said it.
Yeah, we were communicating the whole time. As soon as it blew up, I reached out to him and said, hey, I'm going to be a great teammate to you. I'm going to support you. And they're making this out to something that it's not to be.
There was more than that, too. But, yeah, that's the gist of what he said. He reached out to him.
All I can remember is what I said about the whole situation is this sounds nothing like who Tannehill is.
Nope.
And that's all I have to say about it. I think he misspoke in the way he presented it. And then, everybody's form of mentor is a little bit different, but he shouldn't have used that word, just period. That's what I said at the time. Well, so, hey, it is what it is. But, hey, they move on and gave good headlines. Hey, look, at least the Titans got some pub on national TV.
Boy, they were all over SportsCenter that day, and every one of these shows where two guys sit across the desk and argue at each other.
Yeah, negativity sells, man.
Oh, my gosh. That's what's wrong with the Titans. They're just not negative enough. Need more negativity down there than they'd be on all these shows where people yell at each other across the desk.
Oh, I got some negativity.
Let's hear it.
Hey, one thing I am tired of hearing already.
Hit me. Hit, man.
Burke's conditioning.
Yeah.
I am sick and tired of it already. Good Lord. Come on, man.
He was in and out today.
I would have if I'm Vrabel, I would have lit him up like a light bulb. He is out of shape. He was on the tour. guess what? We're going to get him in shape because he wants to get in shape. Now that the vets are here, he may have to do less reps, but hey, it is what it is. I wouldn't be holding back, man. I think that's what some of these young guys need, tough love. Yeah, I love you, but hey, man, get in shape. We not playing. We need you. Maybe not today, but guess what? I want to see a good solid and see you trying to get in some shape. I don't know why they're protecting this guy, really, to be all honest.
And we haven't talked to him.
Yeah, right. Why isn't he available? Remember I asked Teresa, why isn't he available? Can somebody ask, why is he not available?
He got in early today, she said.
Yeah, because they didn't want nobody to talk to him. They still protecting him.
He got in early.
Yeah, let these guys grow up. This is big boy business now. Sorry, no more protecting. No, you got to slip and fall, man. If you put a banana peel down there, you slip and fall, you learn how to walk around that banana peel. Come on, man. Yeah, take some accountability. So I'm coaching. I'm like, yeah, well, he ran out of breath. I told him, man, hey, let's do some sprints out of practice, see if I can beat you. Man, do something, man. Say something, a joke, or have some fun with it, man. Don't just keep all skirting the whole issue. It is what it is. Yeah. That doesn't mean that's not going to define who he is or anything like that. And he's lazy or anything. Hey, he's not prepared. There's other guys not prepared in other fashions. That's young. Now, hopefully, when he gets to go back, regroup, you're gonna be like, I gotta limit my boar and fish hunting. I think I gotta get more on the track
and expand my track running. Yeah, and
or he can run through the forest.
I know some of those forests.
He can run through the forest. He can have his knife on him while he running. Implement it all in there together. Yeah, come on, man. Hey, we don't do that. You're setting yourself up for failure. Just don't protect him. Not on this. This is nothing. This is just conditioning.
Let's get into this with Coach Mack next. We'll ask him. He's conditioned. We'll get with Coach Mack. We'll talk about
Coach Mack, old school, man. He was like Elvis coming to practice. Serious talk.
All black.
Hey, man.
The man in black.
I'm out here in black and it's hot as fish grease out here, man. And you ain't in condition?
We will talk to him about it next. Coach Dave McGinnis next on Blaine and Mickey.
Talking about practice.
You got to take a fresh perspective, all you homeowners out there, when it comes to, I don't know, maybe you're going to move. Maybe you got a new relationship and they got a place and you got a place and you're going to get rid of one and keep the other. Well, you don't always have to get rid of the home. If you inherit one or if you're going to be gone temporarily, you're just tired of paying the mortgage, look into renting with Renters Warehouse Nashville. A lot of people tell me, hey, I'd love to do that, but I don't want to be a landlord. I don't want to try to find somebody to live in there. I don't know how to vet people. Renters Warehouse, they do all that stuff. They do it all for a small, flat monthly fee. They're professional landlords, manage the property 24/7, so you don't have to. They collect the rent, maintenance, inspections, tax paperwork. They do it all. They don't charge you anything up front. There's no binding contracts. If you want to cancel at any time, guess what? They will let you walk away. So why not find out what your home will rent for? Call 615-398-9550 or go to renterswarehouse.com. That's renterswarehouse.com. Renters Warehouse Nashville. You can't buy happiness, but you can rent it. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Listen and win 2 tickets to see Bring Me the Horizon at Nashville Municipal Auditorium on Wednesday, September 28th, 2022, all week long in the mornings from 6 to 10 a.m. here on 104.5 The Zone. And this same time each and every Tuesday, tune in to 104.5 The Zone to hear Coach Mack, who joins us now.
Yeah, Coach Mack, man, I have to ask you this question. You know, Mickey's always taking us down this road, this rabbit hole of old school stuff. Have to ask you, what was one of your favorite shows growing up? We went down to Star Trek. Well, I did, and Wonder Woman, and all this, Fantasy Island, Love Boat stuff. But what was a show that when you grew up, you like, this is what I'm watching?
Paladin Have Gun Will Travel all the time.
What is that?
And The Bounty Hunter with Steve McQueen.
Huh? I never even heard of that.
Westerns.
I know, but I'm talking about. Have you heard of those, Mickey?
Yeah.
Oh, I did. No, I didn't.
Yeah, never missed them. I mean, growing up in West Texas, you're going to watch westerns, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
well, they had cactuses. What?
No, there was no cactus. I mean, but Steve McQueen had a sawed-off gun that had a little holster, that had a little rip holster on it, and I got one of those immediately as soon as they came out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and this is probably a young Coach Mack walking around out there in West Texas with an actual gun.
Yeah, well, those came pretty quick, too, in West Texas.
Yeah, you couldn't weasel on that one, Coach Mack.
Well, your high school was probably a lot like mine. It was a bunch of trucks with gun racks, and the gun racks were full in the back of the trucks. People hunted before and after school.
No, absolutely you did. And then, of course, my grandfather was in the oil business, and we'd go out to those oil wells and those sites, and there was always rattlesnakes to shoot at. And also, you had to keep the coyotes away. So there was uses for guns then out there for real purposes.
Nuisance animals, as I've heard them called. Blaine is looking at us like we're crazy, Coach.
No, I was thinking. I guess I didn't need any guns for corn to tassel. They're in Indiana, corn to tassel.
What did you see today that you liked? What stood out to you at this OTA practice, Coach?
Yeah, it was good seeing you again today. Enjoyed standing with you. Look, I watch the special teams, guys, in these early times. I could really care less right now about the offense and defense because they'll start to get those things, together. But I watch the special teams and to see what Craig Ackerman is doing because this is when he starts using all of those young guys, seeing who's going to be able to be part of his core teams. And he's got to start teaching those guys. I mean, in my coaching career, that was really important early to get those guys because none of these guys that are coming in from the NCAA level have ever played any amount of special teams because they were all the dudes where they were. And even if they did, you have very little spread punt, in the national in the NCAA. You've got a lot of that rugby style, running, kicking, and the punting is completely different. Punt protection is a huge part of what goes on in the National Football League that has to be taught and retaught. So I watch that a lot. I mean, and then I always watch the young kickers, that they bring into camp. But the main thing I focus on a lot are those special teams periods. When I start watching those special teams period, everybody that's standing with me kind of moves off and starts looking at something else. But I want to watch and see day by day when they're out there together, who Craig and his group are trying to figure out and work in to those special teams units.
Yeah, man, I was a personal protector. I was the outside guy on the shuffles. Ooh, yeah.
Well, and there you go. But and as I say, and that's where a lot of these guys are going to be able to make their mark early. And the thing that's going to be really good once we really get to the meat of what this training camp is, because you've got both the Cardinals and the Patriots coming in here to be able to, to be able to work against, right? That's going to be a really, really good thing to be able to watch going against another team with those guys. Those are the things I look at, guys, because I go clear back to my coaching roots in this league, just knowing how you have to be able to build things from the bottom up.
Coach Mack, our guest, better rates, better coverage, and better service. That's why Tennesseans have been relying on Farm Bureau health plans for their health coverage for 75 years, just like we rely on Coach Mack for the Mack Attack every Tuesday on Blaine and Mickey.
Well, Coach, after watching the young players earlier, I guess a couple weeks ago or so, now you see them. Did you see, improvements from, some of them, the guys you're kind of watching, whatever drills or position that they played, and what did you take from all that?
Yeah, well, first of all, I said the Patriots. I think it's Tampa Bay's coming in here and the Cardinals. But anyway, you know what, Blaine, I'll always talk straight football with you. Not anything dramatically yet.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that I always, want to look at and notice and see is to where they're moving people to see if, they're trying to find places for people right now. And to me, when I start to look at these guys, I want to see how they're putting into effect what they're being taught in individual drills, because a lot of these individual drills, regardless of the position they're playing, whether it's anywhere from the secondary to the offensive line, I mean, it's different. The techniques are different that they're going to have to learn to use. And so I will pick, we haven't have enough days out there yet, but I will pick just certain position groups to watch. I've been watching, the DBs, and I've been watching the offensive linemen just because I want to see, how those guys are progressing and looking at, and the draft picks, McCreary and Petit Frey, watching those guys, seeing their respective position coaches working with them. There's things those guys are going to have to learn. But I do know this, in watching those two particularly, they're pretty diligent with what they're being taught.
What did you think about, I guess, some of the veterans not being there, especially more on the leadership guys? I know it's voluntary, but, I just kind of view it a little bit differently. What are your thoughts as a coach?
No, it doesn't bother me at all. It's the landscape of the National Football League. I learned to live with this a long time ago when free agency came in, and then when the two CBAs started coming in, Blaine, it's a lot different.
Yeah.
It's a lot different. Even
in
than
my
when,
day.
In your day, and in my day to begin with. I mean, when I first started, we only had the guys for 3 days after the draft. That's all we saw them in the off season. That was it. That was on teams that were winning 14 games a year. So it's changed, and you've got to change with it. So, my mindset on that, completely flipped, when I was a head coach and had to start, going with the CBA and the voluntary, the non-voluntary days and all of those things. My mindset completely flipped because, the ones that are there are going to get because coaches want to coach them. They'll be getting coached up. And the other ones that are not there, and especially if it's some of your seasoned veterans, they know what's going on anyway, and then they will come back in and get caught up. Because I will say this, and you can probably affirm this, I would imagine, to me, the further you got into your career, the more you knew what it took to get ready for camp. You knew what it took to get ready, and plus you were in pretty much of a same system defensively, for a while, so it wasn't like that you had to relearn much. So to answer your question, that really doesn't even flip my radar screen much anymore.
Is there an exception to the rule when you're the quarterback?
I think so. Sometimes it helps. Of course, Aaron Rodgers is not there. You saw that today. Matt LaFleur said, Aaron Rodgers is not here, but he's feeling really good. So that's fine. I mean, it just depends. I think, Tannehill's there. I think that's good that he's there. Quarterback is a little bit different, especially if you've got some new people on offense coming in. You got a first ballot Hall of Famer in Aaron Rodgers that chooses not to be there. You got Kyler Murray in Arizona. I mean, I was on a radio station today asking me about that. Chooses not to be there. So, I mean, as a coaching staff, you just move forward and you coach who's there, and then you catch everybody else up.
In this modern era, as you're kind of mentioning, as a head coach, if you have Aaron Rodgers or Kyler Murray, probably two different kind of situations there.
Yeah, I think so.
Are you a little bit, I guess, disappointed, even though your hands are tied that they are not there, being that they are the leaders and the quarterback of your football team?
Not really. I mean, you're not, because here's the one thing I do know. I do know that both of those head coaches have been in constant contact with those guys. You know that. It's not like those guys have disappeared off the face of the earth. They don't know where they are. So, I mean, it's the landscape of the National Football League now, Blaine. It's just the landscape.
Yeah, just from a leadership point of view that I was captain there for a long time, I just feel like I would have tried to be there, maybe not doing a lot of the drills, but also showing my leadership skills and maybe showing them how to do the drills and then let them kind of go from there and kind of coaching them up myself. Not saying you have to be there every day and doing every rep, but I get it. The landscape is changing or is changed, and it just seems like that leadership part of it doesn't even come into the equation. They want it more off of no practice and then, getting other benefits in the CBA.
Well, and I think so. Sure. I mean, and they've clearly bargained, less time in, the more that we've gone through this. And then let's be honest, we go through a pandemic where nobody had any time and you still played a season and people still played pretty good. So, these are professional athletes, and so they're paid to get it done. And the bottom side of that is if they don't get it done, then you move on and find somebody else.
What do you think of this receiver? Unfortunately, I couldn't make it because I got a flat tire 3 hours at the tire store. But this Reggie Roberson kid that plays wide receiver, did you see him?
Yeah, I mean, he's a young kid. It's the SMU kid, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
He's a young kid. He's got some size, but look, none of this to me is really going to start really ticking on my meter a whole lot until, everybody gets together, until training camp starts and you start seeing the real grind of it. Because really OTAs, Blaine, you know this, and you can speak to this better than anybody. You and I think, can, better than anybody.
I'm old.
Who lived it. Yeah, no, well, you're not old. The OTAs are not a grind. OTAs are not a grind. There's no pressure. OTAs aren't a grind. Training camp, now you're getting ready for something real. That's a grind. That's when my meter really starts to open up and watch these guys to see where they're progressing.
I know Mickey may want to ask you some other things. This is more league-wide. Tell me, if you want to oust an owner, they're talking about Daniel Snyder may get ousted. I think it takes 24 votes. How tough is that to accomplish? And do you think that he's done anything at this point in time, which is a lot of different things to this point, to be ousted as an owner? How tough is that?
I have no idea what he's done. Anything I would know is only that I have read briefly.
Yeah,
I
me
really
too.
don't put that much on that to look at it. But I do know this. If some of those allegations as to where he's been withholding money, when you start messing with the money of other owners in the league, then you're stepping into some real slippery surfaces.
No doubt about it. Probably put a banana down there. And then lastly, they're talking about, I guess, discontinuing the actual game of the Pro Bowl. What are your thoughts? Or maybe giving them, other ideas of how to do the Pro Bowl. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, the Pro Bowl's disintegrated to me. Since I can remember when the Pro Bowl was a real competitive thing. I'll go clear back, just because I've got the experience to do that. One of the Pro Bowls I coached in, I can still remember Lawrence Taylor. You got $5,000 if you lost. You got $10,000 if you won. Everybody, coaches and players. That's what it was. I had a rotation. And, at one time, and I had Michael Kofer and I had Lawrence Taylor, as two of my outside guys, and it was Kofer's chance to go in. So I said, all right, Michael, you're in, and Lawrence Taylor started running. And I said, LT, it's Kofer's time. This was in the fourth quarter. And he looked at me and said, hey, you need that extra $5,000? I said, yeah. He said, well, so do I. I'm going in. So it's different now, right? It's not. It's just not. It's not the same world anymore. So to me, and there was a time when they were talking about completely eliminating it, and they're talking about doing the skills. I think at this point nowadays, if you get voted, it's an honor to be voted. But the game itself has kind of worked its way into not being a game. It's just been kind of a show up, and it's great for the families to be there and everybody to see it. But it's different because you can't play a physical game in an all-star game in the National Football League. You just can't do it.
Yeah, really tough. We're on with Coach Mack, giving us the Mack attack.
Coach, it's been interesting watching Traylon Burke's acclimation to the league. In the rookie mini camp, his first day left early. Then the next day he was back and he practiced again. Today he kind of went on and off the field. Is a lot of this stuff, as a coaching staff, Todd Torselli, the training staff, are they just like, nobody's going to win the Super Bowl today. Let's just ease him in. What goes into something like that?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the issue is. I was there Monday.
Yep.
I can't talk about what I saw, but he did most of everything. So, whatever it is, they've got it figured out. Whatever it is, and I'm not even going to ask because whatever it is, they've got a system that they're working with. And as I said, a little bit when Blaine and I were talking, I'm looking as to where this guy is going to be because he's clearly getting the reps. I want to look and see where he is once training camp starts.
Right.
So if he needs something conditioning wise to get him ready for that, then that's probably what they're aiming for.
It was good to see Robert Woods. It was good to see Caleb Farley. Woods tore his ACL in November, Farley in October. But walking out there today and seeing both of those guys participate to a surprising level, even in some 11-on-11, that was great to see.
Yeah, well, again, as I say, I get to watch everything that they do. It's not that it's just open. And so, yeah, when you see that, but when you're now with Robert Woods, you're talking about a veteran player,
Right.
And so he clearly, is way ahead just as what's going on. Caleb Farley still really hasn't done much yet, other than from what you hear and from what I hear is the same thing that you hear, that he's worked really hard this off season to get to that point. So, to have them at that point right now is good. I still know because I know the way this training staff works. I know the way this coaching staff works with the way they treat their players and what they do. They've proven that last year, winning as many games as they did with 91 different players, getting them ready all differently at some points. They will have those guys as ready as those guys themselves push themselves to get ready. So this early sign, to your point, looks pretty good.
Absolutely. Coach Mack giving us the Mac Attack here on Blaine and Mickey, as he does every Tuesday. Wanted to ask you one more on the way out. I know Mike Vrabel talked about this today, guys who aren't there and him having communication with them, and you got into it just a little bit earlier. Do coaches typically know, like, this guy's not going to be here today or he's not going to be here this week? As a coach, did you try to stay in constant communication, you and your staff, as well as you could with everybody, whether they were there or not?
Consistently. I always knew, or my assistant coaches always knew, or my executive assistant always knew, or my operations guy always, my player engagement guy always knew. I always knew where my guys were. I mean, I always did. And if they needed me, they always knew how to get a hold of me. But I always stayed in constant contact with my players, even as a position coach starting out. That's just the way that I operated it, and I kept it through the whole time I was a head coach and an assistant head coach. So the answer to that, on my point, was yes.
Now, you probably still stay in communication with several of those guys, don't you?
Yeah, but now I don't have to worry about them as much.
I know you probably still do, though.
I stay in contact with them, but now it's a lot of really nice reminiscing. I don't have to worry about those phone calls at 2 a.m.
Coach, you never call us at 2 a.m. That's good because we're not here, but always love your calls at 2:20 on Tuesday. Thank you, sir, and we'll catch up next week.
Guys, love talking ball with both of you. See you.
Yes, sir, the one and only Coach Mack. When we come back, let's hear a little bit more from the Titans quarterback. Ryan Tannehill spoke on a variety of subjects today. Let's get into some of that. Next, Blaine and Mickey. Blaine and Mickey went on 4-5 the zone. Our man Bert sitting in for Lucas today, who I guess has been exiled out of the building. I haven't seen him in a while. We were telling Bert, you got to give us you need a catchphrase or some kind of signature thing. So before this came on, he was like, 3, 2, 1. Now, Bert, you don't have to mock us like that.
I just wanted to make sure you guys heard the count. That's all.
All right, somebody's calling in. We maybe have time to squeeze in it.
He act like we 70 years old.
Phone caller to 70 years old, maybe. Ryan Tannehill talking about mentorship. We played the short version of this earlier, but he did get pretty deep in the weeds today on mentorship and where he is with the Titans rookie quarterback Malik Willis. Here's the full bit from Ryan Tannehill about that. Bert, if you could nail that for us.
Yeah, we were communicating the whole time. As soon as it blew up, I reached out to him and said, hey, I'm going to be a great teammate to you. I'm going to support you. And, they're making this out to something that it's not to be. It's not what it's been made out to be at all. And he's been good. And he was great with it throughout the whole time. As soon as I reached out to him, he's like, yeah, I can't believe that it's blown into this. So things that were great with us from the beginning and, have continued to be great. And it's been great to have him in the room and get to know him as a person. And, we'll continue to build that relationship.
It's Ryan Tannehill today. One thing that you said, and you said it earlier on the show, that didn't sound like something he would say. That he seems like a good teammate, and since
his actions, tell you that. That's why I was like, he made a mistake. He made a boo. He
was mad. He was mad. I mean, he was mad.
I think he was mad that he got rid of A.J. Brown.
And then you draft a quarterback. You get rid of my best weapon. I don't know who 2 of my offensive line starters are going to be. I don't know how well that got taken care of in the draft or in free agency so far. And as I pointed out that day, he didn't even get asked the word mentor. He got asked, you're in the same room as somebody who's trying to take your job, I think was essentially, what's that like? And he said, well, I'm not here to mentor him. He knew that he was going to say that. And in reality, and it's not like I go cook out at his house on the weekend and play with him and his wife and his kid, nothing like that. But we have all been around him a lot. And we've heard him talk. That sure didn't sound like something that guy would ever say.
Well, I don't think that's the kind of culture that Vrabel and his staff believe in anyway. So that's, hey, but he said it, though.
He sure did.
He owned up to it and talked about it, and all is over. I loved his answer. It was a great question about, why did he wait so long? It was a great answer, too, on his part, because that was something I was really curious. Like, well, if you didn't mean it, why didn't you just will it back the next day? He was like, well, it was such a snowball, a firestorm. There was no reason for me to go in and try to stop it right in the middle of it. Just let it die down, and I would address it when I came back. So I believe him.
In the era that we live in now of social media, I think you just mentioned Nick Saban. If you go on stage in front of all the business people in Birmingham with everybody there with the phone holding up and every TV network is there and, probably some SEC type reporters, if you say, well, they A&M bought all their players, we came in second to them. You can send the message to the people of Alabama because you're speaking in Alabama. That means Uncle Nick needs more money from all y'all. Mm-hmm. But you also know that everything is going to go out into the world and get presented a certain way. Same way with Tannehill. When you say something like that in front of all the Titans media, and there's probably regularly, 15 people down there with cameras and microphones, sometimes more than that, it's going to go all over the place. It's just the world that we live in now, I mean, it just used to, if people wanted to know what Ryan, think about this when you played. If you said, well, here's what we got to do to play better defense on Sunday against the Colts, you would have said it at practice. We would have had to watch the 6 o'clock or the 10 o'clock news if they put a quote from you, or the next day read the paper. Mm-hmm. Read the paper. So you would go out to the mailbox and young people are saying, what are these two dinosaurs talking about? Mm-hmm. Now it's instant. So if Ryan Tannehill says, I'm not here to mentor this guy, or somebody says anything, as soon as they say it, we all tweet it out. It goes out immediately.
Mm-hmm. Whether you meant to or not.
And we used to.
I used to laugh, though. Half the time I read the stuff, I'm like, man, who? This is not what happened. This is not what they said. Somebody said they said that. Let me go call them. Did you say that?
The other thing is, though, the ability to take one line out of what somebody says and to tweet out the one line, or to present, or the sound bite where they said something for a minute and 17 seconds, but the middle 8 seconds was one thing.
Clickbait, man. I got to get the clicks.
You just carved that out and put it out there.
Yeah.
Well, now later you can put out, well, this is the entire quote. This is what he said, actually.
I mean, at the end of the day, he said what he said, and he meant it, though. I mean, he was like, it's not my job to be his mentor.
And
my job is to win games.
It's to win games.
Mm-hmm. So I don't think he backed away from any of that. Ryan Tannehill, he was in an upbeat mood. He was in a talkative mood. He was in good spirits. He was the Ryan Tannehill that he's always been since he's been here anyway.
Yeah, I was thinking about him this morning. I was working on my notes, and I figured we would. I figured, okay, maybe today we'll hear from him, if not next week, but we heard from him today. And like you said, he was upbeat. He's talking about his teammates, brought up everything about Malik Willis. I mean, we could definitely play some
food,
all this stuff.
Dang, man, you give me an invite. I need some food.
Well, I don't know if I can work on that for you, but the bottom line is, what, 5, 6, 8 games into the season last year, people were tweeting the stats that compared him, remember, to Mahomes. And he was dead even stat-wise with Mahomes.
Mm.
And everybody said, oh, my gosh, Ryan Tannehill, wow. And the narrative has flipped on him so much because of what happened in the postseason.
Well, what I can say, I saw somebody tweet out, I don't know if it's true, but I know you know if it's true or not.
Oh.
He's beat every quarterback except for 4. 3 of them are on the schedule this year. He can say that he's beat every quarterback in the league. Or beat one chart, man.
Well, I thought you were going to say there's another stat that was floating around about how many total touchdowns he's been responsible for, something like that. I mean, he's been prolific here. And you've said this over and over, and I know our show is over, but you feel like he's due to, like, all the people who are right in the end of the road for Ryan Tannehill, hold off, right?
Yeah, I'm definitely saying that. I'm going out on a limb. I'm out there by myself on that diving board, though. So I sure hope he at least wins one playoff game, please.
If they don't win one playoff game, this is going to be a weird place to be in January.
Oh, well, he won't be here.
Okay. He'll be on the diving board with you. Time for us to dive out of here. 3HL's coming up next.
In the meantime.
In between time.
Peace.